Hey you guys, what's going on? I want to talk real quick about sprouted foods. Now a lot of people are believers in like superfoods, you know what I mean? Like there's this one thing or this one way or some kind of special deal that when you eat those foods or go that way or get that deal, whatever, your body's magically going to change. Now what I want you to understand is that neither sprouted foods or any other individual category is magic. Now, sprouted foods can be great, but you have to do your own research, okay? There are a ton of foods that are out there that can be sprouted. Obviously, if it's going to be sprouted, then it's going to be some kind of a seed, okay? Now, that's a wide variety of things. It could be legumes, it could be a true seed, it could be a pseudo-grain like buckwheat, and the list goes on. It doesn't really matter which one it is. If you want to sprout something, by all means go ahead. Typically, grains are safe, but there may be exceptions to that. If you go online and you read, like I had one of our viewers on YouTube sent me a question and he said, yo, I want to sprout some fava beans. What do you think about that? And I'm like, I don't know anything about fava beans. So I got on Google. Guys, Google is your best friend. Really, it can be your worst enemy, but as long as you have a specific question, Google can be a great tool. So you go and you say, hey, sprouting fava beans, and you'll get a bunch of lists. And wouldn't you know, one of the first couple of lists hits on that list was saying basically fava beans have a ton of phytoestrogens. Apparently, when you sprout them, they become like one of the most estrogenic foods you could possibly eat, right? Good enough to be used in like natural hormone replacement therapy for women, which by the way can be effective for a lot of menopausal and postmenopausal women, but that's something to discuss with either a natural doctor or your doctor or somebody who is licensed and able to give you actual, honest, good advice, okay? I don't know you. What I'm doing here is giving you information, not making a dietary prescription. So, there are foods that have hormonal effects. Unfortunately, for everybody who wants to get steroid results but not take steroids, there are no foods that are natural steroids. Doesn't work, okay? What does work is getting your protein at the right times, which is basically just each time you eat, getting your carbs with your food, having your fats, eating natural foods. If you want to have sprouted foods, have sprouted foods. I'm going to show you sprouted lentils, okay? You're really not going to be able to tell because I don't waste my time waiting like 4 days for a root to grow, okay? I soak them overnight, and then this one's not as good of an example. And then I let them sit out, so they're basically soaked for about 8 hours. They'll triple or quadruple in volume, and then I will spread them out on a wire mesh, but you can spread them out on a baking sheet or whatever, okay? So they're not more than about this thick, maybe like three lentils thick layer, not more. And what that does is that lets the water evaporate out to the point where you won't get mold growing, but the seeds still stay moist. And you'll notice that this may be hard to see. This one's got a little coloration, so maybe it's easier. But you should be able to see maybe how there is kind of a raised bit there. That's where the root is growing, okay? Once the seeds have been soaked and they've plumped up, and you've then given them maybe, you know, 16 to 24 hours of time to then sort of sit out moist but open to the air. And it doesn't matter whether it's in the dark or in the light. Although you can do it in the dark if you just feel better about that, since, you know, everything germinates in the dark, since it's usually underground. Then that's fine. But what you have to remember is that germination is essentially the process by which water gets in and deactivates a lot of the enzyme inhibitors that are locking away the nutrients and allows the seed to then basically become a living plant instead of a dormant plant. At the point at which it's now a living plant, which is where that tail will start to grow, you may as well just go ahead and eat them. They take up less space, it takes less time, and you're basically going to get the same nutrition out of them. So that's just a quick tip for sprouted foods. I hope you guys enjoyed that. One thing, don't sprout black beans. I honestly don't remember exactly why. If you go look it up, you'll see that for whatever reason, something weird happens when you sprout black beans, and apparently it's not very good for you and you end up having to cook them. And since you have to soak most beans for like 8 to 12 hours anyways, and then change the water and then cook them, you may as well just cook your beans. But that, again, you're going to have to go bean by bean and figure out what's okay and what's not. Because some are great to sprout, apparently, and some can be problematic. And know that just because it is a general thing that might work for a lot of people, you may not like certain things sprouted. And there are other things that you may hate when you cook them regularly. Like, I don't really like lentils all that much if they're cooked. But when I sprout them, they have a much lighter taste. They're very crisp. And they have, it's not sweet, but it's the faintest hint of very mild sweetness. I don't know how to explain it. It tastes really, really good. And I love mixing them into all kinds of stuff. So that's our deal for sprouted foods. Yes, you can sprout fava beans, but they've got powerful phytoestrogens in them, and what can I tell you? That's not really my recommendation for guys. And girls, I would definitely recommend that you get some kind of guidance, but again, you're free to make your own decisions, good or bad, or anywhere in between. I just suggest that you try and get some professional guidance so that your decisions are good ones. Thanks for watching, and come back next time. Make sure you ask any questions you want below. If there are specific things you want to hear about, I'm going to start answering those. We're going to be very active with video blogs and question and answer sessions like this, and eventually we'll get some Twitch TV sessions going. So that's it. Peace out.